Hey, it's the Chief bonding with board games and RPGs coming to you with our live Knave second edition. You can already see Never Fear 1911 is in here. Let's go. Let's go. All right. I even popped in a few seconds early there. Never Fear. So I'm curious, we're going to give it a little bit of time, hoping that Jay Sturgill shows up here. And he may have gotten my email wrong. But that's fine. I hadn't heard from him. That is totally all right. But Jay, if you do pop in, or if you're in just watching, go ahead and comment off to the side. Just to catch everybody up, first of all, welcome. Second of all, we are doing live sessions of Knave second edition. This is by Ben Milton. Sorry, his name is down there. Ben Milton, who actually lives in Wichita, where I live. Never met the man, but he is quite the creative soul. So here we go. We could ask the questions that I mentioned in the emails to Mythic. That's a good point. So Ormond, who is we're Ormond and Milo. My character is Milo. Never Fears running Ormond. We are both mages that are trying to improve our skills. We're like brand new. Hey, there's Jay. He is in. Boom, boom. Looking good, Jay. Awesome. I've got a ranger kind of fleshed out. We're going to talk about that in a second. Jay is going to be running, and do think of a name. If you have one already, just hold on to it for a second, or we can do it random. But we'll come to that in one moment. We're going to let some more people come on. But Never Fear with Ormond. You talked about, there were some questions. You can throw it up in the comment. You were talking about a lich, and you want to roll on those. I got to admit, we had several different texts back and forth or emails back and forth. I remember looking at them, but I can't remember them specifically. You bet you could use the email again. Let me throw this one in here real quick. You'll see this. Let me do this one. It'll be easier. So take a look at that, and then I'll pull that back down out of there. But Never Fear. Let's do we are using the Mythic emulator. So let's ask those questions real quick. They were in reference to the lich that you serve. And you just wanted some things that are going on in the background. Real quick to catch folks up on where we are at. Let me clean this back up here. That should do that. All right. So Grisant is our mentor. He is a mage of finding. We've gone to train with him. We're in this frontier city, which is called, I've got my little my notes here, which is called Pinsport. It's a frontier town village off of a very large lake. I'm thinking our big Great Lakes or something in the United States. And we're moving into kind of unknown, unexplored space, but we know there is an area that has a flaming waterfall, and ultimately we're trying to recover this item. I won't go into all of it. That'll help us contain a ghost who wants to travel with us for his own purposes. I won't go into the whole backstory now, but we're two novice mages wandering through the woods, and it didn't work out well at all. I got attacked by a cougar. First, Ormond did. Then I tried to help out, shot myself with my own crossbow in the foot. It was a mess. Got mauled by the cougar, not once, but twice. Hello. Darn near dead. And we've realized, this isn't good. We need a sellsworder. We need a ranger. And Jay is going to play said ranger. Of course, we're in a frontier town. There's going to be rangers that abound. And Grisant lives there, so he's going to know somebody. And I searched up, actually used a photo generator to come up with a photo of a ranger. We'll come to that in a bit, Jay. It's a cool looking dude. Let's see. So here we go. Ask Mythic if the Lich Mrog is at play in the world in some way. Got it. Now, the question to you is, do you just think that's 50-50, or do you think it's more likely or less likely? So again, we're using the Mythic Emulator version 1. There's a fate chart that we can ask yes, no questions to. It's an oracle. So I'm going to ask this question, never fear, but feed me what you think your percentage is. Do you think it's likely, just 50-50? No way. Liches are very bad. And okay, 50-50, you don't know. Got it. I'm going to roll it up. I'll roll it up here. So the question is, ask Mythic if the Lich Mrog is at play in the world in some way. 50 or less is yes. I've got a 54. Close, but that is a no. So no, Lich Mrog is not at play in the world in some way right now. If the Lich isn't, here we go, then someone destroyed its, wow, you are an expert on liches. I am not. Destroyed his, how do you say that? Phylactery? Phalastery? Okay. So there's the problem right there. So someone destroyed his phylactery. I don't know that word. I've never seen that. And I'm fairly well read, brother, but I don't know what that means. But I'm no lich expert. All right. He's clarified a little bit more. What is this? Oh, phylactery. That's good. Jay, you're great. Just like when I didn't know how to say stir well, and you let me know. Phylactery. All right. Someone, I'm going to have to research liches. Ormond wouldn't know this, though. Got it. All right. Keep track of that. Never fear. Jay, your character. I've got a character sheet made up for him just in general. I want to give you a little bit of the history because we knew he was a ranger, if I can grab the right sheet, but I didn't give him a name. So looking at Knave, Knave deals with failed careers or other careers. It doesn't have to be failed, just prior careers. So, of course, being a ranger out in a frontier town, I just looked through, I grabbed beast tamer and hunter. Now, with those careers comes some items you automatically get. You got a bear skin, you got a bear trap, got gloves, a whip, a leash, and a tent. Also, I gave him a gambrin, just like that heavy padded shirt, and a mail shirt. So he's got 2 armor. So the way the game works, everybody starts with 11, and then you can have up to 7 pieces of armor. He's got 2, so his AC is at 13. His armor class is 13. I put you at a level 3 because you're not a brand new, you've been around for a while. And I rolled up your health. Your max HP right now is 9. Now, knowing that you're a ranger, and some of this would be open for you to change, but strength was 3, constitution 2, and wisdom for ranged attacks, foraging, navigation. Spell resistance is 3. I will end up sending this to you, so you'll have your own copy of it here. Once we get the emails going back and forth. Ranger, but I didn't come up with a name. So, it's where the Lich's soul is kept. Good. Wow. Even if you destroy its body, it can still come back if it's, I already forgot the phonetic, is intact. Phylactery. Say it quick when in doubt. Got it. I didn't know that that's one thing that makes liches. You can they're hard to kill, or hard to destroy, but then they can reanimate. Got it. All right, but I'm still no lich expert. So Jay, let me show you. I'm going to screen share. Let me show you the photo that I have generated for your ranger, and then I want to know if you have a name. I'm going to bring him up a little bit bigger. Look at this fella. Let me get this out of the way. I love the wide brim hat. It was the only one. Everyone else had a hood when I was generating. And obviously he's got some arrows back here. So he's going to have a bow. He's got all kinds of little weird kit hanging off of him, which looked great. And I can't tell if this, I don't know if it looks almost like the wooden handle like in Last of the Mohicans that they would use as a club, but I'm not sure exactly what that is in his left hand. But I'll send that to you as well. And then I'm forgetting his name, and I like him from the Clone Wars, the one bounty hunter, the blue guy that had a big old wide brimmed hat. But I love his kit. Definitely looks like a Frontier Ranger mix. And this is your guy. Jay, do you have a name? And if you don't have one yet, we can roll and create one randomly. You can sit on it a bit if you want to think of it now that you've seen a photo of him. He can simply go by Ranger, but then we're going to jump in. We're going to meet him. And you had a great idea at the end of the last session. So I had a withering stick spell that I used to just save me at the last second and got this cougar, and it kind of shriveled him up. And I rolled for a new spell after resting, and I got Rotting Servant. And you had an idea of what if that spell was used to animate the cougar. Now, folks have seen the thumbnail. That was another thing I kind of came up with. But remind me your names. There's Ormond and Milo. I'm running Milo. Never Fear's running Ormond. But again, we're from different lands. So you can even sit on it and wait. We'll just call you the Ranger. Maybe you don't even tell us your names right away. We may not be alive long enough for you to actually share your name with us. Mm-hmm. So, and then you're a beast tamer and a hunter. So the other thing that Milo wants to do, and his soot pot got destroyed as he was getting mauled by the cougar. We're back in this town, and I want to get a new soot pot. Part of what my plan is to imbue my magic with my tattoos. Now, you had the idea that this rotting servant could reanimate this cougar. But due to this attack, I added a condition to my guy Milo. He is terrified even of kittens. Who we got in here? Doc Flamingo. Hello, Doc. I like how the flamingo's got I forget what they call it. That was the little reflector there. Very nice. Let's see. Boom. Everybody's saying hi. So I know we're slow starting here, but we had to do some of this development. Both the Lich, introduce the Ranger. I'm going to buy a new soot pot. Can't cost much. I got plenty of money. We are going to hire the Ranger. The Ranger is being hired at a fee. I've got plenty of money, plenty of coin. Coin is how your experience goes up in Knave 2E. We can figure out what the fee would be, but it'll be substantial. But I had an idea, kind of off of your ideas, that knowing we're into the magic, we're the mages, I think part of your reason for even being hired is you want to see this cougar. And I could see you and I talking about my rotting servant spell and maybe making a deal that if I could use this spell and reanimate this cougar, that he would be in control of it. Now, I'm terrified of cats, especially this one. So, Jay, I'm curious if I know your character and it was your idea that, hey, you could reanimate this cat. This Ranger would be interested in it. I imagine that Garzant, who's like our teaching mage, I'm sure he goes way back with this Ranger. And maybe that's even part of the hook is, hey, there's a cougar out there that could be your servant. And I think that's what brings you into the meeting. So let's open that up. We're at Garzant's cabin. He's got like a cabin, frontier laboratory housing. And I imagine you come in with your hat. Good. And we want to go in for discussion. We put out to Garzant that we needed some help. We can't even walk through the woods without dang near dying. And I got mauled up. I'm healing up. I'm being still treated. I've got the shakes. I'm imagining PTSDs all over it. And in comes this Ranger. And I believe he comes in. Garzant probably serves him up a little bit of hard cider. And he sits down at a stool. We're there. And I think he's a little smug and says, I understand you need a little help in the forest. So you will take him from here on out. I think Milo is like, we need a lot of help in the forest, and I will pay. Ormond, anything coming from Ormond, never fear. So we're seated. Garzant is serving up some hard cider to this seasoned ranger. Here's our name. Hold on. We're going to keep this going here. What is this? Batre. Let me get it written down. And you're going to have to give me the phonetic. Batre. Batre. Here we go. Oh. What is this? Not much for me. All right. Ormond's just sitting there. Okay. I think I'm messing with the soot pot that I purchased. Those are cheap. I was able to pick up a new clay soot. Batre. Got it. Like bat. Batre. The R-E, like French. All right. Batre. Very good. All right. So Ormond isn't saying anything. He's just sitting there. I think I am mixing the soot pot, and probably I'm always practicing my tattoos in my downtime. So why don't you bring up, Jay, if you remember, I would imagine you might have some questions about the cougar and maybe us describing where our problems went down. So I describe to the best of my damaged ability where I was mauled. It is derived from Latin. It means to hammer or batter. Perfect. Okay, love it. So why don't you pose any kind of question? I want to see the cougar. And I say there isn't much left. It's been hit with a withering stick, but it lays there. And I would prefer never to see it again. All right. What say you, Batre? This is ad hoc, so anybody watching, we haven't pre-planned anything out other than what we left in the last session. So you're like, I want to see it. I need to see it. And I think it's part of the hiring price for you. You will see it. And you want to get started now. I imagine it's the next morning. Maybe I've even been there a day or so, but you're ready to go. I will approach the cougar and look at it. Want to know if it's male, female. Want to see how old it is. I want to see if, I don't know, why it attacked. It's rare. Most cougars would steer clear of you, generally. And I'm like, if it's part of the price, I think Garzant's like, trust him, Milo. He's good. So, all right, the deal's done. I've purchased my soot pot. We'll work out the money later. I would imagine with your idea of somehow reanimating this cougar and then the idea of pairing it to you, that might be your full price. Because I can't see wanting to be around you and this cougar that mauled me. Therein lies the problem. All right, so we head out. Now, using Mythic, let me find my Mythic sheet. Get her back over here. So using Mythic sheet, you go to the expected scene. So the expected scene is, we know this is about a day's travel away or about a half a day's travel away, but it's all wilderness, all wild. So the first thing we want to know is our chaos factor is 5. So we got to roll 10-sided die. And if we get 6 or higher, nothing happens. The expected scene is the return to where this cougar's been withered will happen. But if we get an odd, it'll alter the scene, or an even, it'll interrupt. A 1. So we have an odd. There's an altered scene that's going to occur before we reach the withered cougar. So we can go to our action subject, or we can use just common sense reasoning. So J or never fear. Any idea what could have interrupted? Is Battery aware of where we are headed? He is. Oh, you mean as far as the water, the flaming waterfall, that we are headed to the lava waterfall? Yes. Or is he accompanying us until we get out of the forest wilderness? No, he's hired on to shepherd us out to wherever we go and back to Garzant. So I'm not sure he'll leave this forested wilderness. It's possible he could travel with us further. A lot of that'll be up to Jay and how the story goes. But yeah, he's attached for the foreseeable future as long as we're in these wilderness areas. Good question. Not seeing any other comments on what people think the logical thing would be. I don't even know what it is. I'm going to roll action subject. These will be paired up. Something came in. Hold on. We are headed to the cougar's body. Yes, we're headed to the scene of the withered cougar. But before we get there, one action subject. I have 25. 25 is dominate. So this is something that's going to alter the scene. Dominate. And then subject is 64. 64 is a burden. Dominate a burden. All right. The first thing that just comes to me is if it's dominate a burden. This, I think, as I'm getting closer to the scene of the mauling, I've already said that I'm flat out terrified. And I think even being in the forest or approaching the scene of the mauling is starting to have a negative effect on me. Dominate a burden. I'm carrying the burden, Milo is, of being mauled. And I think what I've got to pay for in this case, if I go look at Milo's sheet, my intelligence is 3. I think this has got to be having a negative effect on me. I'm going to, how about this? Let's lower my constitution. I think I'm in a state of, or no, let's put a condition on of fear. I'm going to have to roll on anything that's like, I don't know, any kind of challenge. I think I'm going to have to do an intelligence roll just to see if I can overcome my fear. So my intelligence is 3. A standard problem, a simple problem would be an 11. So I would have to hit a 14 just to go over my fear. And this fear might scale up or down. Let me see if I can I minimize? Yeah, we'll do that. I even got on here. Oh yeah. So fear of cats is all over my sheet here. Fear of cats. All right. So on dominate a burden is just, I think I've got the shakes even as we approach. So a question to Jay, your ranger, he's been both a hunter and a beast tamer. I don't know if he would be the kind of person that would either be looking at me in disdain, or is he going to have like some kind of soothing words or comforting, like, hey, I'm in control out here, just rest. Yeah, terrified of that cat. So Jay Batre is, I don't know, and you can figure this out as you go. I don't know his personality type. Is he the type that would reassure Milo, or is he the type that's going to be like, relax, I'm in charge? Give me a window into his personality, see if he can. I mean, I think it's darn near that I'm freezing up on this trail as we move closer. And be prepared. Your idea of using my spell of rotting servant in order to reanimate this cat, you're going to have to sell that, obviously. I know it's part of your price, but let's see what you have to say. I'm very curious about the cat. I would talk very soothingly. Okay, all right. So you're working. I think you see that Milo's steps are even slowing down, and you can see a tremor in his hands. He's pale, splotchy. He's basically experiencing extreme amount of stress. You can tell that PTSD is kicking in to the point that he's slowed his pace. I see Battery kind of sliding back in. You can tell he's wise with the ways of the forest and of living off the land. Perfect. Calm tones like to an animal. Got it. All right. And I think that soothing voice comes and says, I'm here. I can handle anything that this forest shall bring. You're under my protection and you'll be fine. And Milo is just like, I don't know if I can see this cat again. And Battery's like, you've already vanquished it. You just need to vanquish it in your mind. Okay, I like that. So let's see. Does this nullify his fear? I don't believe so. My own personal life experience, law enforcement wise, 29 years, is you don't remove the fear, you instill the bravery. So the trick is that the fear is not removed, it's the ability to move through the fear or to continue working through the fear. And I think that's what the ranger is able to do. He doesn't remove it. He's explaining how I've already combated this cougar. And now I just need to fight it in my mind, which is kind of my skill set. You know, we're both very intelligent. The physical threat has been dealt with, as we see, maybe not for long, but now it's the mental. And I think the ranger is able to work that into the conversation. If there's ever a strength for Milo, it's his ability to defeat the memory of this cougar. Now, it doesn't remove the fear. And I think cats are still going to be a problem. But I love that. All right. I think I'm still going to have these chances that I could lock up if faced with some kind of actual attack. So I'll leave that on there. But Battery explaining that, and I think probably even walking with Milo for quite some distance and probably talking to him and maybe sharing stories, reassuring him that the battle for Milo is now in his head, not in his hands. But we approach the area, and I think what comes in. Oh, let's start here. Mechanics wise, does it help in some way? It's helped me to continue. That's it. So I've still got this problem. I'm still carrying this fear of the cats. And if we get into a situation, I'm going to still, I just knocked all my papers off. We'll have to dig those in a second. Hold. We're going to look at this full. All right, bring the papers closer. There we go. All right. Boom. We approached the site where the battle, where the mauling took place. Sure, maybe lower. Well, in this game, you drop by 5s. So Knave is all about a regular challenge is an 11 that you would have to hit with a 20-sided die roll, and then your bonuses are all +5, -5. And Ben Milton says just go in 5s. So you can end up with a -10, +10, 5. So they don't break it down. He doesn't get into the onesies and twosies. It's all in groups of 5. So I like it. We'll just use that. There'll be a minus or a +5 to any difficulty challenge, meaning he would have to roll. I think I said, maybe I was off, but he'll have to get a 15. All right. I think Milo stops completely. We've come into the area of this mauling. I don't want to round the bend. I don't want to see around the tree. I'm afraid to look upon even this withered cougar. I think Battery wouldn't push that. And I would imagine he moves forward. Now, I'm the one with the spell. Jay had brought up in the last session, hey, you might be able to reanimate this thing and make it your servant. But I like the first part of just, Ormond, are you going to go up with Battery and check out this cougar? If you can throw in an answer in there, and then tell me how you guys are going to do this, because Milo's going to hang back. So Milo is hanging back. You guys go ahead and drop in kind of your approach. I would imagine this fight took place in just like a very small little clearing. Ormond will join Battery. Got it. Battery. All right. So, Battery, you will be taking the lead on this approach as the ranger. You can fill in a couple details and then I'll kind of alliterate it. But let me know what you're looking for as you're kind of approaching. I don't believe this is any kind of skill set. You know, we know it was hit with a withering stick here. Ormond is moving with you. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. So we got two things. This is about bringing the dead back, related to not dying, which is part of being a lich. So he's interested in it because he might learn something from it. Got it. Ormond's in to see this occur. And Battery is approaching the cougar, reading the scene. So I think as Battery comes around the corner, he sees this withered cat lying in disarray. He can see how the brush, the ground, the leaves in the area have been disturbed, and that there was quite the tussle in this location. I imagine he kind of stops maybe, 5 feet away from this cat, just kind of taking in the scene. And then he moves to the cougar, and I think he grabs the paw and kind of inspects it and turns the cat over and just kind of gets a full inspection of this cat. Now, Jay, we can roll randomly to see if there's anything wild that comes out of action subject, or again, just what maybe what you see. Now, again, Milo's the one with the spell that can reanimate it. I think Garzant has shared this with you. So there's this possibility. As we're learning, I would have definitely shared the spell. We use wild magic here, so it's a one-off. But this cat could be a servant of yours. And that's what you're looking for. That's your interest. So what do you want me to roll and see? Is there any wild random things that you're going to notice on this cat, or do you have an idea of what you're seeing? Anyone watching? None of this is planned out. This is ad hoc, by intention. And I know that means the pacing can be choppy or slow, but nothing slick here. The cool thing is exploratory story. Yes. So Jay, I'm going to go ahead and roll as I'm waiting here. Let me grab my sheets without knocking them all over. Oh, here we go. Jay comes in. This was withered. I was familiar with it before it was killed. Ooh, very nice. Okay. So you are familiar. I'm imagining just from maybe the paw and the shape of the claws that you can recognize the track, and then maybe even the individual cat you are familiar with. Got it. I want to pick up something. Let's just try. I like doing weird extrapolations. So as far as the personality of this cat, I'm going to roll action subject. You get weird word pairings here, and we're going to see if we can puzzle it out. May not work. 85. So we're going for cat personality. Negligence. Okay. Negligence and 23 balance. So you've studied this cat and you've got negligence and balance. What does that mean as far as the personality of this cougar? Negligence and balance. Negligence could clearly mean, I don't know, it attacks people, which would tend to draw slings and arrows, I would imagine. So we know that you found this withered cat and you recognize it, but this is a cat of negligence and balance. Also, I don't know, you're a hunter, you're an animal tamer, maybe you've even named this cat, maybe not, but negligence and balance. What I would imagine, I grew up in Evergreen, Colorado. I went to Evergreen High School, and our mascot was a cougar. So I saw a cougar, a real one, only once from very far away. So I'm thinking negligence and balance. I don't know. I'm imagining that it strays too close to people. But what do we got here? This cat was vicious, and while it was dangerous, I was keeping an eye on its territory. Okay. All right. Too close to people, but probably very dangerous. Got it. Very dangerous. You're keeping an eye on it. All right. I also imagine that you call out to Milo, or Battery does, and you say, Milo, you've got to remember that what you're battling is in your head. Come lay eyes upon the cat that you vanquished. So we talked about the fear not going away, but the ability to move closer. So if I come to Milo, I think under my constitution, the physical resistance, this is definitely a constitution type deal. I only have a +1. I think I would be able to move closer with the comforting words from the ranger. I'm going to give myself a +5 with his words on this, my constitution of 1, but I've got to roll a 20-sided die. He was rolling terribly before, so a +6, my constitution plus the ranger's words. I need to get an 11. Look at this. I roll a 1. Well, that tells me that I lose bladder control. Yeah, that's right. That's catastrophic, baby. I can't come up. Not now. Not right now. Wow, that's horrible. Natural 1. I don't know what to say to that. Rolling a 1 is brutal. Do you faint? I think I'm frozen in place. Losing control of the bladder is bad enough. I don't think I'm going to faint as well, but I am stuck in concrete. I can't move. Jay, your ranger's going to have to do something to, man, he is terrified. That just reinforces what this cat did to him. Again, I've got the spell, but right now, even with your comforting words, even with the idea that it's mental, I clearly haven't defeated it. So, using some of your skill sets, you're going to have to get me through this. So again, Batre, you have your charisma I have is nothing. You have 3 wisdom, 2 constitution, 3 strength. If you want me to reanimate this, I don't know how you're going to convince. He can't even look upon it, let alone reanimate it. So your challenge is going to have to be to overcome that. You could use a strength move. Maybe he needs a slap in the face. I mean, we're talking a tough ranger. Maybe looking at your deals, your intelligence, Oh, I'm looking at mine. Your constitution, physical resistance, that's not going to do it. Wisdom would be foraging, navigation, spell resistance. I don't know, maybe you bring the cat to me, drag it over so that I can see that it is dead. Throw out what battery's going to do there, Jay. How do you get around this? I can't even step to it. This thing mauled the hell out of me. It's the whole reason we hired a ranger, but the only reason you're here is because Garzant has teased you that I have a spell that can reanimate this and turn it into a servant, and you want it to serve you, the hunter, the beast tamer. All right. I like dragging it to you. Got it. I think you grab it by the scruff of the neck. And there's a therapy session for Milo. Yeah, this is going to be therapy session, exposure therapy, ranger style. And I'm planted like concrete. The good thing is I don't think I even have the flight. I don't have the fight. I don't have the flight. I'm frozen. You grab it by the scruff of the neck and you start dragging it. And you come around the corner and it's slightly behind you, and your body's concealing kind of the full view of this cougar. You're using your soft tones and realizing that I need to see this, but you're telling me you vanquished this cat. Let's see what else you say. Look at it. You've already killed it. Now show your mastery. Use your magic. I like it. I think you add in, bind this cat to me, and it will serve all of us. Set your mind free. Garzant said you could do it. Garzant said you must do it. It's part of your training. Sounds good to me. All right. I'm convinced. I can't move, but I can speak the words. And I've got the rotting servant. We know the spell will occur, but I want to make this a little bit better. I think I've got to try the tattooing. So I tell you to come closer to me and to continue holding the cat. And I position myself kind of between you and the cat so I can barely see it. Jay likes it. Ormond is taking note of the incantation being used. Yes. So I've got the cat kind of on the other side of you. You are the physical embodiment, this ranger between me and the cat. I pull out my soot pot. I pull out my needles. And I begin to prepare your flesh on your left arm for a magical rune that I'm going to embody. The touching, the grabbing of the cat, and the spell going into this tattoo. I'm going to attempt to bind this cat to you, to make the cat your servant. So this can't just happen. This is a higher level. The spell will happen. But can I successfully bind it to Batre? Normally it would serve me. The spell, though, has to be pulled off. So since I'm using the spells and the alchemy, it's going to be my intelligence, which is 3. I think I'm going to have to hit that 11. I'm not going to add a plus or a minus other than my skill on the intelligence. So I'm going to have to hit a 14. Is there anything, Ormond, you can do to assist, or anything that Batre can do that soothes and maybe gives me a +5 while I'm rolling on this. Oh, sorry, I made it harder for myself. I don't add my intelligence to the problem. The problem's an 11. So it's not up to 14. Sorry, I just confused myself. This cat has me terrified. It's an 11. I'm going to get a +3 to the roll. If I roll a 1 again, I guess, Ranger, we're going to have to figure out if you'll take pity. So anything from Ormond, anything from Battery, that would give me a +5 on top of my 3. The skills, the bonuses go up by minuses and pluses of 5 increments. We're going to have to hit an 11. I'm going to be adding 3 to the roll. I can't think of anything else. The fear that's in me is about the only thing I can think that would juice up this spell. There's a lot of that angsty energy that's attached. Not much I can help with. All right, you're just observing. Anything, Jay, anything you can think of. You're holding on to the nape of that cat's neck with your right hand. Here we go. More soothing words. Got it. So I imagine Battery is saying, this is in your mind. Take control of the animal and bend it to my will, and it will never hurt you. All right. Let's give it a 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8, +8, +8. If I roll another 1, baby, I have to hit an 11. Here we go. Oh, 15. 15. If I can get it to angle right. 15. So 15, 16, 17. That's actually 21. I can do math. It's actually more than that with the +5. 23. So woohoo. The good thing is, if you go over with your bonuses over, if you hit 21 or higher, you can extrapolate that something extra has happened. And I like it because what I've been working on is, as I'm tattooing kind of what I imagine, maybe it's a general rough shape of the cougar, kind of like a tattoo of this. So a cat head with ears is what I've tattooed onto your left arm while you've held the nap of the neck of the cougar in your right hand. And I see the magic kind of embody that tattoo. And I start to see your right hand kind of move. I think without a doubt, I fall back onto my butt, my haunches, and I kind of, with all fours, I now scrabble away from you. Soot pot, needle, and I'm observing from a distance as this cougar starts to animate. Now, to move away, what I also have is what the thumbnail is. So let me stop that screen share. We're going to rescreen. I'll get to your comments here in a second because I want to bring up the thumbnail. And boom. So as this cat reanimates, Jay, it looks something like this. Let's just say it looks like this. If I had anything else to let go from my bladder, I think I would at this point in time. 21 or higher is for attacks, not for checks. Whatever, never fear. I'm playing it in. It worked well. It's a success. I'm with you on the attacks and to get an advantage, but I like the idea that I'm up that high, especially after having a natural 1. I like that. Very cool. So you still have your hand around the nap of the neck of this cat. And I think you can see that magic imbued within it, just like it's pictured here. You're in control. You have it by the neck. I think you're going to have to demonstrate or maybe learn yourself what kind of control you have. Now, you are a beast tamer. You're a hunter. You know this cat. and you're now magically attached to this cat. I have no idea what that means. So, is there anything useful I learned from the incantation? Well, let's ask. So, Ormond, first of all, Jay, I want you to be thinking of what your actions are going to be as this cat has now animated magically. Start thinking of what you're going to put down. We're going to ask here. So, Ormond, are you learning anything? Let's just do 50-50. You've heard the words spoken. You've seen Milo's terrified. I've got, a 91. Well, that's a no. You haven't learned anything yet. Maybe what's to be learned is the ranger's use of the spell in conjunction with his knowledge of the cat. So it doesn't tell me that, no, you've learned nothing. You haven't learned anything magical, but I think there might be something to be learned by the interaction between Batre and the cougar. So back to Jay. And you don't have to spool all this out now. I think this encounter, once it's finished, you can go as deep as you feel you can go now in the moment. We're going to end this session as we come up on an hour. And we'll let this sink in that we now have this cat. Here we go. I'm going to start to train it just like a ling beast. I'll use both my will and hand signals. Got it. All right. I'm curious what else came in here. How long does the spell last? I've thought of this one. Normally our spells are rolled for and they're all pretty short. I think the binding of this cat via the tattoo, this isn't like a spell of hours or days. Well, I guess days, but I think we're going to have to think on, is this like 15 days or are we talking more like a couple months? What's the order here? What happens? I want to think on it a little bit. By the way, I sent you a test email and it did not bounce. Good. I want to look real quick. We will see. Let me get out of here. Let me get out of that. Got it. That worked. We've got it. We're linked. So one of the things, I'm going to write some questions here. We don't know yet. How long does it last? And being tattooed, I think, helps. So how long will this spell last? The tattoo's got to help out. Depends on Batre's vitality, his own life force, I think. I love it. Mechanically depends on his constitution, maybe. All right, I love it. So I'm going to write a note. Batre's constitution. It does make sense if you're bound and he's bound by the rune and the tattoo is permanent. I would imagine there will be some struggle there as well that Batre will have to deal with. Jay, you say that you're starting to train it. So explain to me, as you're holding it by the nape of the neck, what would you do first? Just give me your very first tattoo for Milo. Yes, the very first successful tattoo by Milo. And I think part of it was his sheer terror. I think terror, it was part of the energy that even imbued this tattoo. So Jay, give me an animal trainer's idea from the ranger's standpoint. Are you whispering in this cat's ear? Are you letting go of the nape of its neck and petting it? Are you leashing it? You do have a leash. So do you put it on a leash right away? I know you've got a whip, you've got a leash. I don't know kind of what do you feel Battery's style would be? Battery can feel the connection. I think the cat can feel the connection. We're going to get this tidbit. I would sit, okay, and then pet it and talk to it. I like it. So you sit down, you're petting. I think you're kind of leaning in. You're whispering in its ear. I want to know. I'm going to ask some questions of the fate chart. 50-50. Does the cat kind of almost do like that kitten thing and come curl up in your lap? 50-50. 50 or less is a yes. 46. Wow, that's a yes. So it's not a strong yes. You would have needed a 10 or less, but it kind of works over and it kind of curls up in your lap a little bit as you continue to whisper into its ear and pet it. You're saying soothing things that, we can kind of hear it, but not the exact words. What else? Give me one more thing or some more questions here. I've got one. Is the cougar trying to eyeball Milo? 50-50, 50-50, 74. No, that's good. I think Battery's maybe keeping its head turned away or shielded from Milo. So it's not eyeballing. Look at those eyes. If that thing was eyeballing Milo, I think he would lose more than bladder control. It might be full Monty. Usually I would use treats as reinforcement. Perfect. I think knowing that Gerzant told you about this, and being a ranger, you've got to have some type of jerky or something. So I would imagine you've got a treat, and I'm thinking that you're taking a bite of it a little bit, nibbling it, maybe even softening it a little bit. Some of this jerky could be pretty tough, and then you're handing it over, and you're now hand feeding this cat as it's curled up into your lap, and you're petting it and you're whispering to it. I think that's a great scene. It's almost like you got a nice house cat that could rip out your throat. Hello. All right. It's bound. We will determine later how it's bound. But Ormond has some information from the Lich, but Ormond, or Never Fear, we didn't have too much coming from you on this round. Totally fine. This is how things roll. We're developing, we're learning as we go. Anything from Ormond, Never Fear, before we leave? Are you approaching? Are you trying to touch the cat? I guarantee Milo is not. What is Ormond doing before we end the session? I want to bring you in here, Never Fear. What is Ormond doing? We didn't have a lot of movement here, but having this cat successfully attached and learning the ranger all at the same time is huge. So big session, observing, looking for something to learn in relation to the undead or the undeath. How about these runes that are on its fur? I want to roll. I'm thinking that there's something that maybe Ormond learns or recognizes from these runes that are in this cat's fur. 50-50. And why don't you roll? Never Fear, roll 50-50 percentile dice. 50 or less, you're going to learn something from these runes that you can see glowing in this cat's fur. What else did you list here? Still focused on the goal of becoming a lich, trying to gather any knowledge you can. Yes. 37, beautiful. All right, you have learned something. I want to go random. What have you learned? So throw out some more rolls here. All right, I want an action subject. So percentile dice, we're going to get 2 words here. First, an action, second, a subject. This is what you've learned. We're going to intuit from this process. So yes, you've learned something. What have you learned? If there's a little bit of lag, I'll roll for you. There we go. We got a 26. So the very first one is going to be, procrastinate. I don't know what that is. We'll figure it out. Procrastinate. All right. And the second roll is 65. 65 is intrigues. Okay. We can roll 2 more times on both of these to see if that helps, but you've learned, I don't know what procrastinate intrigues is. Let's see. So Jay says, Ormond, I want you to make this spell, or this is Battery. Ormond, I want you to make this spell permanent. This could be a good test project. Got it. So Milo cast the spell. Maybe Ormond. That's a good point. Ormond, do you have anything that you could cast? I can't remember your list of spells that could somehow strengthen what's going on here. That's a very good point from Jay. Does Ormond have anything? You've got procrastinate intrigues, but do you have any kind of spell, one of your wild spells that could somehow enhance or make more permanent what's going on? Let me look. Where's Ormond? My sheets have been flying all over the place. There's battery. There we go. Do I have your list? Well, here we go. Hold on. Nope. I don't have anything that could be useful. Okay. So there's nothing that could be useful. Procrastinate intrigues. This was you understanding something with these runes that are on the cat's body. I think the intrigue tells me that maybe you recognize some kind of dark power with these markings on the cat. I don't know what procrastination would be. Yes, I know it's delay. So it could be that you recognize these runes somehow, or this writing that's on this cat's fur, but you don't tell anybody. Maybe it's even, I don't know, could it be something related to your knowledge of your lich? We can roll again if you want, or you can think on it. Some of the runes delay death's plans. Okay, I like it. Okay, so you're talking delay on that. Perfect. Do you have enough of that you've learned something, interpreting intrigue as plans? Okay, got it. So that's it. You're able to kind of read the runes, and you can see that there's a delay of death in these runes, and you've learned that. I don't know how that will help you in the future, if it does anything at all. But you can make note of it, that you were able to now recognize those words and that it's a delay of death's plans. And you've interpreted the intrigue as the plans. I like it. Anything else anybody else wants to add? We didn't make any money on this. I actually have secured Ranger Battery's services with said cat. Milo's going to clearly have to continue to now not only deal with the mental inability of thinking of this cat, but with its physical incarnation. That may actually help him get over it. Maybe he can learn to deal with his fear as this cat serves Battery. I think I would want to turn those runes into an incantations to be used in a spell. Okay. So make some notes that you've got some knowledge basically on the delay of death's plans, and that somehow that could work for you in the future as your skill level improves. Figure out a way to read those runes. I like it. Good. All right. So that's what you'll be doing. Please make notes on that. Batray. You're seated. I'm picturing like cross-leg style with this cat curled up, and you're whispering to it, and you're feeding it, and you're petting it, and you're cementing that connection. The runes are both glowing on the cat, and I think your tattoo is making that same matching fiery yellow orange glow. Your connection is cemented. We will figure out later how long. Maybe that ends up being one of your deals. Can you keep this connection going? And what do you have to do to serve that connection? I like it. Those are good. Next session in the new year. It'll be 2 weeks. Yes. So 2 weeks from now, we will meet up again. I'll have some email conversations with us, Jay and Never Fear, just separately. I always like keep up just emails going as we're playing through here. Nothing over the top, just like, hey, we're going on this date kind of thing. This date will game. And again, that's fine. If nobody can make it, Jay or Never Fear, if you can't make it on a particular day, I'll run it as an NPC. But this is awesome. Hopefully we get more and more dialed in as we get back on track. We've come way off track of what we were trying to do. We're trying to find the fire waterfall, but We will talk about that next time. I'm ending the session. Great session. I don't know how Milo is going to deal with the physical incarnation of this cat, but again, he'll deal with it. Maybe he'll be whispered to and fed by Batre, just like the cat. All right, see you guys later. Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs, and I wasn't able to show it, but I've even got my Samurai Boba Fett, one of my favorite shirts. All right, see you guys. Bye. Ending the stream. Again, Knave.